Good morning, or good night, or good evening. It is 4:45 in the morning, and Marcus is up because he's hungry. I've been up most of the night, so I'm counting this at the end of week 2, rather than the beginning of week 3. You wouldn't know he was screaming like 10 minutes ago. More marrow. So we've got up. I'm feeding him marrow. And then we'll go back to sleep. Yeah. But thank you for watching. If you like what you're watching, cooking, seeing, please subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment or a question. Yeah, thanks. See you in the next video, and hopefully I'll get a bit more sleep now. Okay, bye. Good morning, everyone. It's the start of week 3 and we're on day 1. Marcus is already tucking into his breakfast. Second breakfast. Yeah. If you watched the last video, we ended it at 5 a.m. this morning. Oh, thank you. 4:45, 5 a.m. with Marcus having a breakfast because he was hungry. So he's now having another breakfast. And he's now finished the marrow I cooked yesterday, so I have one more bone left. I'm going to roast that now, along with some lamb ribs. And then because I need food, because this child is hungry. I mean, he was a hungry baby, feeding like every 2 hours, hour and a half when he was young, and then on average every 2. So I think he's going through a grad spot or something. I have no idea. You feel like a terrible mother when your child is screaming, but he's just had milk 22 hours to 20 minutes ago. Like, turns out he was hungry. So yes, I shall continue to feed my child a lot of fat. I don't think my husband quite believed me in the very beginning when I just kept giving Marcus marrow. He was like, you don't have to give him every meal. And I was like, well, it doesn't have every meal, and Marcus doesn't eat it all as much every meal. He self-selects. I think he believes me because he messaged me, he was like, did you hear Marcus crying last night? I was like, yeah, he was hungry. Because I sent him a picture of the marrow bowl that was 2/3 empty now. So yes, I will carry on preparing the gammon. That's been soaking in a pot overnight in the fridge. Roast the marrow bone, roast the lamb ribs, and then we're going to go outside and play in the snow. So the lamb ribs are in the tray. Marcus and I have salted the skins. I'm going to cover it with foil and then pop it in the oven for 40 minutes to an hour on about 160 for 40 minutes to an hour. Then I'll uncover them and they'll have the last 20 minutes blasted at 180 to 200 just to crisp up the skin. Also putting in the marrow bone to cook, because that takes about an hour when they're not cut in half. Okay, I'm going to talk about Marcus's eating and stuff, because he's eating tons. He's just finished his little bowl of salmon that he had left over from last night. This pot of crab was almost full, and he's eaten basically 2/3 of it. He ate the rest of the marrow. He's now having some coconut water milk thing that's left over from making the yogurt. I mean, I'm just in shock at how much he's eaten, and the fact that he woke up and he was really upset last night because he has only been having one feed a night, between going to bed and waking up for the morning. So we're doing 4 feeds a day. Yeah, okay. Put your cup down. Put your cup down. But it's a crazy amount. I mean, he was a hungry baby. He fed every hour and a half to 2 hours. And now it's just replaced with food, which I'm fine with. But, I mean, it really... I mean, I was eating huge amounts. Our food bill went up by a couple £100 just because I had to eat. Because he was feeding so much. And it was the same during my pregnancy. I had to... get up. I'd often get up at midnight and I'd make myself 3 or 4 eggs because I was so ravenously hungry. But it's turned out that, well, he's just carried on eating because he eats 3 to 4 times a day during the day, plus milk 4 times a day, roughly, maybe 5, depending on the day. Oh, we had a little spillage. I mean, I don't know whether it's just the winter, whether he's going through a growth spurt. I mean, he looked a little slimmer the other day. I don't know. I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. I'm just going to continue feeding him. I'm just completely flummoxed. Just the amount this child eats. And I'm feeding him protein and fat. That's it. It's supposed to fill him up and he just keeps eating more. That's our house. Good evening. So after the interesting morning that I have had, today has been a bit rushed off your feet. I put the beef ribs in the oven and then I forgot to turn it on. So I left the house to go out. My husband was looking after Marcus and I thought ribs would be ready by the time I got back. No. Or at least partly ready. No, they hadn't even started. So I put them on. Usually they take about 3 hours, maybe 4 hours to slow cook. So we are doing steak this evening for dinner because my husband got some more and we have a few that need eating. So I've got 2 here ready, 1 rump and 1 very nice fatty ribeye. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. It is Thursday, so it's day 2 of week 3. We've just got back from Pilates. I highly recommend if you are a mum, postpartum, however postpartum you are, whether it's early days or quite late, as in like 17 months, highly recommend Pilates. It's really good for your core and just get moving. It is week 3 and we just feeding Marcus his this is pancetta. I'll put a little picture of the brand because it's a really clean one. It's only pork and salt. I wanted to talk about Marcus's eczema. So last night my husband and I were having a conversation because actually Marcus's eczema has got worse and I've really noticed it in the last couple of days. In the other video, I think it was week 2 video at the end, I was showing you the Worcestershire sauce, the gluten-free Worcestershire sauce that I get from Tesco's, and it's got onions in it. So I am wondering, and we stopped actually as soon as I saw that, I read the ingredients, always check the ingredients, rechecking ingredients. I stopped giving Marcus any biltong. My husband's going to make some without the Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to see whether that makes a difference. Yeah. We're going to see whether that makes a difference with his eczema. We're day 3 now of no biltong, no Worcestershire sauce with onion. I mean, it's a small amount that's on the biltong, but maybe Marcus is that sensitive to onion. We shall see. I'll keep you updated. At the end of this video, I'll probably have something more to say about it. But the patches of eczema, he didn't have any on his arms 2 weeks ago, and now he's got little patches on his arms. It's all over his thighs. I took some pictures this morning, they're not very good, and it always looks worse after a bath because they're red. Yeah. Now, from my research as well, if you were following me on Instagram, you'll see that yesterday morning I was up at 4:45 feeding Marcus his first breakfast, because I'm trying to wean him gently, and he'd had milk 2 hours and 20 minutes before, and then he was up screaming at 4 o'clock because I wouldn't give him breast milk. And then he tells me he's hungry, so I'm like, oh, right. And then he had a proper breakfast, marrow and bacon, like a load of marrow. And then he finished the marrow, ate another load of it when he had his second breakfast at normal time. So, go on then, you eat. He's just going through a hungry phase, so I'm going to continue feeding him. And now I've lost my train of thought. Oh yes, I remember. Okay, Marcus's eczema. So, in my early morning research when I couldn't sleep yesterday morning, I was stumbling across other information. So, the onion in the Worcestershire sauce, trying that. Then I was also thinking, I stumbled across a blog post. It was when I was researching how to make carnivore crisps. What about histamines? Because dry-aged food, which most meat is dry-aged a bit, has greater histamines, and when it's a problem with onions, it's usually to do with histamines. So that's one option. Whoops! Up you get. Oh yeah, you can feed yourself. Then I also was talking with my husband, and so the eczema came up a bit more. No, don't take the phone. When we started introducing the homemade yogurt, I think. And that was, a week and a half ago? Almost, not 2 weeks, but a week and a half. And in the homemade yogurt is the coconut milk that I've shown you, the Biona one, agar-agar, and inulin. So inulin is a fibre. Agar-agar, I'm not actually sure. I'll do some research and put it in the video in a minute. So we have, in the experiment, my husband took out the agar-agar, and we're going to see whether it makes a difference. So yesterday we had yogurt, so with agar in it. Marcus has been onion free for 3 days today, so it's just a waiting game, a wait and see what changes, if anything. And then the next thing I'll try is histamines, and apparently pork is quite high in histamines. He's eating pork right now. We eat the prosciutto, we've had gammon. I don't know. So we're just starting. You've just got to start and wait. And then food-wise today, I haven't had time to eat yet. Marcus has had leftover lamb and marrow for breakfast, plus some pancetta. I'm going to have some prosciutto. And then what I did yesterday is I slow-cooked the beef short ribs. That will be like snacks and dinner today. Yeah, and that's what we're doing. Oh, and I've got to sort out the gammon with some bone broth. Yeah, because the gammon's been soaking for a couple of days. Today is day 2 because I didn't have time yesterday. Because yesterday wasn't great. And salt the steak. Take a pinch, that's it. Do you want to take some salt?
Right there.
Salt?
Right there.
Salt.
What then?
You on the camera. Take a pinch. Salt. Okay, finish. How much has Marcus eaten today? Or this evening?
Steak,
All the fat off the steak. 2 strips of steak as well. Water. And he's eating the marrow, isn't he? The last of the marrow. Ah, water.
Oh, here comes the show.
Is that tasty? You're having dessert as smoked trout. You are fancy little man. Very fancy.
Wait for the begging.
More? Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, so it's day 3 of week 3. So this week is becoming what is causing Marcus's eczema, because as I mentioned, I think yesterday or the last video, Marcus's eczema has been getting worse, and it's really irritating, and I obviously don't like it. So as I mentioned yesterday, I started doing some research and, thinking, is it the onion? So that he's been without the Worcestershire sauce, without the biltong for today's day 4, I think. And then this idea of histamines. So I was talking to my husband about it, and then he started doing some research because I think it piqued his interest. We started doing research into it. So pork is really high in histamines. We've been eating a lot of prosciutto, and Marcus has been eating it. I've been eating it, and I'm still breastfeeding. It's a really convenient snack. It is. But what if Marcus has a histamine intolerance? I mean, his body, his physiology is still really young, so maybe this is what's causing the eczema. And I was doing some digging, and I came across Steak and Butter Gal on YouTube, who did a video on histamine intolerance, and the fact that she was on a carnivore diet, and then she was having like really extreme reactions, hives and psoriasis and a bunch of other things. It did not look nice. For histamine. So on a carnivore diet, it's not everybody, it's not common, but it's not unheard of to have a reaction to histamines. Marcus wanted to say hello. And the thing with the carnivore diet is that, so histamines are present in aged meat. And it is really difficult to find not aged meat, because as soon as the animal is slaughtered and then it's packaged and refrigerated, the longer the meat is on the shelf in a packaging, the more it acquires histamines. So if you put it in the freezer, then it slows the increase in histamines. And histamines aren't bad, I've read, in the body. I mean, it's a natural reaction, and you can get histamines in your body after exercise, when you're under stress. So it's a natural process, and you can take antihistamines, but I mean, Marcus is still so tiny, and if we can fix what it is. So there are some people who just need to exclude all high histamine foods. There are other people where, when you're on a carnivore diet, if you just cut out or really cut down on those foods that are causing a problem, you might be able to reintroduce them later. So that's what I'm hoping for Marcus. I don't know if this is what it is, but we're trying. We've already started cutting down things. So what And annoyingly, I went and ordered loads of pork because pork is high in histamine. But we're going to run down all the histamine foods. We're not going to give Marcus any cured meats anymore because they're high in histamines. Anything cured. We don't know about the biltong. We're gonna leave that out for now, but we're gonna research because it's dried. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Don't know. But definitely pork is a no-no. I bought mackerel is quite high in histamines. Annoyingly, I bought mackerel because it's all the foods I actually like to eat, but my husband hates. He doesn't. A mince is high in histamines because of the increasing surface area. It's easier for bacteria to grow. So with more bacteria, higher histamines. So things like fermented foods, sauerkraut, pickles, all of those, they're usually high in histamines. There are some fruits and vegetables, but they're not an issue at the moment. So I'm hoping to find out that this is the cause, because then at least I have an answer and I know what to do. And then we'll just keep Marcus off of these high histamine foods until he's older, and then go, just trial it one at a time. Because he's been without dairy and eggs, and one of the things we want to try him on when he's older and his immune system and his physiology is more mature and it's more settled, and probably once his teeth have come through too, because that puts your body under stress, is to try him on like egg yolks and then goat's butter and see how he handles it, whether he can or can't. Because at the moment, can't. You finished? Marcus had 1.5 breakfast this morning. So he started with steak and marrow, which he ate, and then he had a little bowl of prawns. That is my breakfast that he was interested in because it was on the spoon, the big spoon. I'm having leftover beef ribs and bacon from whatever I made the other day that had bacon. The meatballs. Yeah, so basically, when you're cooking, so also to do with histamines, the fresher the food, and if it hasn't been like cooked and then cooled and then reheated, that process increases histamines. So we are trying to do everything fresh for Marcus as much as possible. And I'm hoping that over the next few weeks, I'll keep you updated. I'll continue to vlog it after Carnivore Month, because we're going to be continuing Carnivore Month, I think, because I don't know what's happening with Marcus's eczema, and this is a really controlled experiment. So yes, that's where we're at, and hopefully this will help Marcus's eczema. One of the things I am about to, yes, we're going to wash your hands in a minute. One of the things I am going to do, yes, we're going to, okay, you can take your bib off. One of the things I am going to do is, so I'm going to find some grass-fed bone marrow in Liverpool. I've got a couple of butchers I need to call. And also, interestingly, I discovered that kidney is a natural antihistamine. So I'm going to go buy some kidney, ox kidney. Yes, Marcus, you're going to get out and we're going to wash your hands in a minute. So hopefully that will help with any of the inflammation, which eczema is inflammation, it's a reaction in the body. I don't know. Morrison's does sell ox kidney, but I was going to try and find grass-fed if I can find grass-fed. Mummy's fork. You eat your food. Day 4 of week 3, and we're starting our lower histamine foods for Marcus. We're starting to change the food choices. So what we're doing is, Marcus is having fresh food, because the longer the food sits, cooked, uncooked, heated, reheated, the higher the histamines. So we're doing that. No cured foods, so no cured, no prosciutto, no smoked salmon or any fish like that. No high foods for him, no high histamine foods for him. So no mackerel, because I actually did buy some the other day. The gammon that I cooked yesterday, finished cooking yesterday, he's not going to eat any of this. Grant and I are just going to finish it, which is what I'm having for breakfast. So here, I just fried it up with some of the stock and the juices from the steak. So Marcus is having steak. Also, we're trying to, well, I'm going to try and make sure that everything he eats is fresh. So when it comes, I mean, yes, it's going to be more work, because if you're on a carnivore diet, you need to have meat. So we're not doing any biltong, there's no dried stuff either for now, not until his eczema's cleared up. What my husband and I have decided is that we'll just give him steak. We can leave it like up till about lunchtime if it's cooked, and he can eat it cold. So what I did was I just chopped the steak in half, or I took up like just over a third of it, and then he's eating that. Look, in your pocket. So that's what we're doing for low histamine for now, and we're going to phase out. We're just going to use up the pork that I've already bought, because I did do a bulk order, as I told you, at Thomas Joseph. So I have like a lot of gammon to eat and use up. But we're going to slowly do that. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try Michaela Peterson's crispy bits recipe with the gammon and see what happens. I think it will be quite good. So right now, I'm going to be making a variation on Michaela Peterson's crispy bits, because they sound great, but I have none of the ingredients she usually uses. I need to get some of this gammon used up, so I'm going to use it because it's been slow cooked. It's quite tasty, and why not? I'm also going to use some leftover beef fat that's mixed in with beef juices, and it tastes really good, but there's just too much fat here to use like on its own in a dish. So I thought we can get a beefy flavour to the pork, why not? And then I will bake them in the oven. That is the plan, that's what we're doing, and now let's go. So here are the pork crunchy bits, or the gammon crunchy things, or whatever. They're actually not bad. They are quite crunchy. They're crunchy. You know, maybe last time I put them in total for an hour at 150. I turned the heat up. Maybe you can see. You hungry? Okay, this evening's dinner is actually a bunch of leftovers because we're trying to eat up the food that's being already cooked so we can do low histamine food for Marcus. So I'll show you what we are finishing. So the last of the beef ribs, and we've got 3 lamb ribs, leftover prawns that I've had as snacks for Marcus, Marcus's leftover steak and the fat from breakfast this morning. I cooked him half a steak, so we'll cook that and he'll eat that for dinner. And then I also have the pork crispy bite thingies that we'll finish as well. If we get hungry, if we need more, there is smoked mackerel in the fridge for my husband, and obviously the gammon. Yeah. Hi everyone, it's day 5 of World Carnivore Month, and we've had an interesting day so far because it's 20 to 3 in the afternoon. Marcus has eaten 4 or 5 times so far, starting at 5:45 in the morning. He's refused to nap, so I'm wondering whether he's dropping his naps. So we're doing laundry, and I'm going to clean up the kitchen because it's a bit of a tip. And Marcus is helping with the mail. And I'm going to make some more of the crispy bit things. I can't decide what to call them. Maybe pork crispies, or pork crunchies, or gammon crunchies, gammon crispies. No idea. I'm going to put it on Instagram and see what people say. I thought to make some more because actually they taste pretty good. Here is what's left of what I made, and they would taste really good on top of like scrambled eggs, or if you like a chicken and bacon salad. So rather than bacon bits, crispy bacon bits, you could do gammon crispies. Also, if you can have carbonara or like some sort of creamy sauce, like a white cheese or milk or something, if you can have dairy, it would taste really good on that. So I thought I'd make some more and also experiment, not for me because I won't be eating them, but maybe for my husband I'll add like maybe some paprika. Smoked paprika would taste good, or some herbs, make it a bit more exciting. But until that point I'm going to make some more, and then I'll experiment with flavours when my husband gets home and I can ask him what he wants. So let's get going. I've still got this much of the 4 kilos of gammon to eat, and I've got another one in the fridge, so we've got quite a lot to use up. So for dinner this evening, I'm going to have some organic chicken livers. We're going to have a rump steak so that Marcus can have the fat, because everywhere has run out of marrow bones apparently. Some sweet cure Scottish salmon. And that's what we shall be doing. And then we've got crispy bits. Pork crispies, pork crunchies, don't know. The husband likes them, Grant likes them, so the next batch I'll do some flavourings for him, like Worcestershire sauce or smoked paprika or something. I don't know. We shall see. day 7 of week 3. I'm sorry yesterday was so short. It was just one of those days. So the last couple days, Marcus has been waking up, really early and needing like a first breakfast sometime around like 6 a.m, 5 a.m. He's currently having his first breakfast now because he is hungry and he's been asking for food, but thankfully no screaming. Yeah. I am making, well, coffee has just made, well, I'm making gammon crunchies. Gammon crunchies is the name decided by the people on my old Instagram account called Eat Allergy Safe, which is a blog I used to run a long time ago. But I thought, seeing as I've been talking about Marcus's eczema and carnivore, I thought I'd resurrect it a little bit. So I posted on there and was like, what do I call these gammon things? These pork things, they're really crispy. Pork crispies, gammon crunchies was decided. So I'm currently making another batch, and I actually gave some to my husband, and I put jerk seasoning in one and piri piri in the other, and he thought it was really good. So even though we're having them plain, I'm having them plain. Good for seasoning. And then on the histamine front, so we have taken out all cured meat, cured fish as of yesterday because I finished it. We had some mackerel, and we're just finishing up the pork, and then when we've run down all these stocks of histamine foods, we won't be buying anymore. But I can already see that Marcus's eczema is starting to get a little bit lighter. I mean, it's slow because we've still got his high histamine foods in, so we'll see at the end of next week. And yeah, I also decided that I want to have him completely eczema free for a while before I start reintroducing things, because I think the problem is that I never got rid of the eczema properly. It went down, but it never went before I started reintroducing foods again. And so, what is it? Are you talking to the camera? Yeah, so I want to do 6 months actually. I want to continue carnivore until Marcus is about 2. So about 6 months, so that his body can have time to heal itself, its gut to sort itself out if there is anything that needs to be done, and then start reintroducing. I mean, it's going to be a longer journey than I expected, but he's thriving, having a really high meat diet. And what's that? Yeah. So that's where we're at now. I'm going to make more gammon crunchies. And then what we're doing for dinner this evening is slow cooked beef ribs. So I'm quite looking forward to some beef because we had a lot of pork. I really enjoy bacon and ham and pork and everything, but I'm starting to get a bit fed up with it now because there's just been so much. I do have one more 4 kilo joint of gammon in the freezer, which I will use, but not yet. I'm going to do that in a couple of weeks, I think. And then go from there. Yeah. That's what we're doing this morning. Okay, so it's dinner time. I finally roasted some more marrow for Marcus because everywhere had sold out, weirdly. And we've also got, as I showed you a little bit earlier, beef ribs. We're quite looking forward to that. And then Marcus will also have leftover steak. So the one I cooked earlier, and then we'll also cook this one because no point leaving it in the packet. I don't want it to oxidize. And also the longer it's open and uncooked, the higher the histamines and cooking and cooling and stuff. So that's what we're doing. Of this Carnivore Month, Marcus is fast asleep. Grant and I are sitting on the sofa, about to relax for a bit. Grant now believes me properly that Marcus eats everything. Today he has eaten 200 grams or a bit more of beef and a whole marrow. I will show you the before and after pictures of the marrow bowl. Grant and I were feeling sick watching him eat all the fat. Was gross, but if it helps him sleep, good, because this week's been a bit brutal with getting up early. That's why the recording has been rubbish. So tomorrow we start week 4 and we'll see what happens with the low histamine. We're slowly working through all the pork that I've bought and the chicken and other higher histamine foods. Grant's doing his bit by eating the smoked trout and the prosciutto.
It's a tough life.
And I shall be making more gammon crunchies, as Instagram has decided they should be called, to use up the pork, because we quite like those as snacks. So that's it for this week. Thanks for joining me and Marcus. And if you like this video, please like it. If you would like to see more, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave any comments if you want content or you've got questions or your experiences with diagnosing your kids' eczema. That's it. Good night and see you in the next one. Bye bye.